Great Value brand, which is extra large, and then 1 egg from the Food Lion, which is just a large egg. And here's the crazy part. I cook my eggs, when I boil them, I do 15 and 15. 15 minutes boil, 15 minutes off, and sitting in the boiled water for an additional 15 minutes off the stove. And so this was the Food Lion egg compared to the extra large Great Value brown egg, right? So this obviously looks like a normal boiled egg. It's round, it's shiny, it looks good. But this, as soon as I pulled it off, look at that. That's the Great Value brand. Same time, I just pulled them out, and that just does not look good at all.
Here we go, guys. Would you eat lab-grown meat? Or do you think that we don't know enough? Comment below, share, follow. Thanks, guys.
The age of lab-grown meat has arrived in this country. The Agriculture Department just approved 2 California companies to sell chicken grown in steel tanks using cells that come from an animal egg or a special bank of stored cells. The cell-cultivated chicken will first be available at a restaurant in San Francisco and another one in Washington, D.C., owned by famed chef Jose Andres, before hitting stores.
If you go to McDonald's, anywhere in the world, you will find French fries. And you will find that they're always made from the same potato, the Russet Burbank potato. This is a potato from America that's unusually long and difficult to grow. But that's what they want, because when you're McDonald's, you like those red boxes with a little bouquet of very long chips. It looks really good. And so they insist that they have no blemishes at all. There's a very common defect of Russet Burbank potatoes called net necrosis. And you've seen potatoes with a little brown line sometimes. Well, McDonald's won't buy them. And the only way to eliminate that is to eliminate an aphid. And the only way to do that is with a pesticide called Monitor. That is so toxic that the farmers who grow these potatoes in Idaho won't venture outside into their fields for 5 days after they spray. And then when they harvest their potatoes, they have to put them in these atmosphere-controlled sheds the size of a football stadium because they're not edible for 6 weeks. They have to off-gas all the chemicals in them.
What do you feed the cells?
We feed the cells the same thing you and I would eat, except in a much more simplified form. So if we're eating, say, meat or protein or starches in like a potato, we just break those down to its components. Amino acids in the case of protein, sugars in the case of starches, vitamins, minerals, those sorts of things. You take cells which are living, and as long as they're fed, kept warm, and given a place to grow without competition from bacteria, they'll continue to grow using their genetic programming. And they will produce the same thing that's in an animal, and then you can eat it.
This way, you can grow the meat without needing to grow the rest of the animal. No bones, no skin, no nervous system. The only problem with this is that it also doesn't have an immune system. So if bacteria gets into the process, it pretty much ruins the whole batch.
And the most important thing, of course, is that once we put anything into the system, it is, in fact, sterile. We monitor all the different types of bacteria in the air and on the surfaces. We also monitor what's inside here, but more importantly, what's not here.
Right.
Bacteria, viruses. Our main line of defense is prevention, is effectively just never letting bacteria or viruses in.
Effectively, we are the immune system in a facility like this. This is important because one of the main advantages of this technology is that you wouldn't need to use antibiotics like we do now in animal agriculture.
The moment we take the cells directly from a farm animal, we have to pierce its skin in order to get the cells. There's going to be bacteria there. We use a small amount of antibiotics to make sure no bacteria transfer into our system. And this is, I'm talking about over the course of years before we actually get them into production. Once they're in production, we do not use antibiotics at all.
Cultivating meat at a small scale has been done for a while, but the challenge for the folks at Upside is how to grow this production up to a commercial scale.
Oh, this is great.
This is great.
So many more tanks.
So much more room for activities.
In case you missed it, Eric just referenced the classic movie Step Brothers.
So many activities!
Which means he and I are about to become best friends.
Did we just become best friends?
Yep! This is the production floor. Things that work here get scaled massively up for commercial scale production.
Right.
So this facility can do up to about 400,000 pounds of cultivated meat per year, which is a lot for cultivated meat, but in the grand scheme of meat, it's a very small amount. Our commercial facility will be able to do in the tens of millions of pounds of cultivated meat per year.
If this can be done at a scale that competes with existing meat production, it'll mean a much cleaner environment.
It takes 2 years to raise a cow before it goes to slaughter. It takes 9 months for a pig before it goes to slaughter. And it takes 2 months for a chicken before it goes to slaughter. It takes us 2 weeks to grow meat. And everything we make can be eaten. Therefore, we just see first principle advantages that are significantly superior to conventional meat.
But for all of this to work, two things need to happen. Companies like Upside need to be able to make this stuff at an affordable price, and people need to want to eat it. So what does it taste like? Let's find out. Currently, Upside's only FDA-approved product is their chicken fillet, which is made in a small-scale process to replicate the look and feel of a chicken breast. But they're also replicating ground meat products that can be made at a much larger scale, and I got to taste them all. But before we dived into the tasting, I had a bone to pick. What kind of chicken meat were they cultivating? As you well know, this is an issue we take very seriously at Hard Reset.
What is your favorite part of the chicken? Thigh. It would be the thigh. Thigh's the way to go. Right. Why didn't they start with the thigh?
Why chicken breast and not chicken thigh?
Why chicken breast meat and not chicken thigh meat?
Chicken thigh is by far the superior meat. Fully agree with you.
Okay.
Western palates prefer chicken breast.
Do they?
Western palates, when they think chicken, our research shows they want white meat. They want breast meat. It is also a lot of the meat that's put into chicken nuggets. That was just the familiar cut that people wanted. However, our chicken breast meat has intentionally some dark meat character added into it on purpose in the form of connective tissue that prevents it from overcooking. And I think it sort of redeemed it.